I was scared as hell of who I became. Life turned me into this guy, stuttering, struggling to read and write, overweight, insecure as hell. But you know what? You've got to face that in the dark room. That dark room is who you are, man. And in that darkness, you've got to build a new person who walks out and faces that old version of you head on. Growing up, I had a rough time learning. But when it came to people, I was sharp as hell, a damn genius, because I lived in my own private hell. I was always studying people who's got my back. Who doesn't? Who's fake? Who's real? I got good at reading energy real good. Is this energy good? Is it bad? So I became a master at studying human beings. It was survival. It was my way forward. Now, sometimes the problem ain't the problem. Your back hurts. Maybe it's not your back. It's something else causing it. Same with life, man. I kept hitting these roadblocks and I kept asking myself, what the hell is wrong? And I realized there was one place I hadn't gone yet. I hadn't gone back to face the beast, the demon inside. So I went back. I looked that son of a bitch dead in the eye. That was the missing piece. I had to confront him one more time. Like when I studied that Navy SEAL who ran his mouth, I figured out where that fire came from. I dug deep and found out his old man used to beat the hell out of him, put him in front of a furnace with the flames going, butt naked, and beat him down. You move, you get burned. Stay put and take the beating. That shit got passed down from his dad to my dad, and then my dad tried to throw that shit on me. I had to understand who my father was and where that brutality came from. I got my answers, and I used those answers to fuel myself, to get stronger. I didn't go back looking for some apology, hoping to blame him so I could just sit back and be a failure. Hell no, I went back to understand and then take that pain and turn it into power. Why would an apology make you a loser? Simple. It would make me feel like, yeah, I'm justified. I'm off the hook. My dad did this to me, so now I can just sit back and be a failure. It's that mindset that says, you did this to me, so now my shortcomings are your fault. I'm okay being weak because of you. That's what I thought I was looking for when I went back. But as I got closer, this voice in my head started saying, it ain't your dad's fault. And I'm thinking, no, man, it is his fault. But that voice kept getting louder, kept saying, you've got a lot ahead of you. Your dad did some real damage, but it's on you now. And by the time I got to that door, that voice was booming. When I left that house, I wasn't feeling sorry for myself anymore. I started doing a live autopsy. You know, when people die, we do an autopsy to find out why. But nobody does a live autopsy on themselves to see why they're dying while they're still breathing. I realized I was living, but I was dead inside. And once I understood that, I got a second chance. I got reborn. When you face your demons like that, it changes you. You see things differently. Trauma's coming, devastation's coming. It's not a matter of if, but when. And you can't let it be a roadblock. It's got to be something you can break down, maneuver around, and keep moving forward. And that takes a different kind of toughness. It's about what you're doing today, tomorrow, and the next day. That's why I don't listen to the theorists or the armchair quarterbacks. I listen to the badass who are in the trenches. The ones who are saying, man, I'm tired. Why? Because tomorrow I got to face the hell again. That's the person who's earned their knowledge, who's learned through suffering. And on the other side of suffering is a world most people never see. That's where you find yourself in the darkest, hardest places. You don't find yourself in comfort. You find yourself when you're all alone, stripped down, facing your demons. Like that 100-mile race I did, running for 24 hours straight, I found myself on the other side of that. It's just you and your mind alone. And your mind is going to try to pull you into 1,000 different directions. If you don't learn to control it, it will control you. And if it controls you, you're screwed. You got to tell your mind where to go, how to get there, and who the hell you want to be. It's about taking control. We've got so much more inside of us than we think. But you got to be willing to pick up that shovel and dig your own path. You may be moving slower than everyone else, but if you're on your own path, it doesn't matter. Stay quiet. Stay focused. Cut out the noise. People love being around others, love the parties, love the talk. But it's okay to be alone. It's okay to be unhappy. Sometimes you got to put the phone down, shut the world out, and go dark. I do it all the time. It's part of the journey, my journey. And when I'm in that pine box, I want to know I left it all on the field. Because I believe the spirit lives on. It's too strong to just die. When you're looking back on your life, when you're all dead and gone, you better be damn proud of who you were. None of this is permanent. This whole game of life is a flash in the pan. When I'm gone, I want to know I wasn't the guy who lived as a liar, the insecure little man hiding in the shadows. I want to be able to say I'm proud of who I became if I dropped dead right now. I want to look at myself and say, damn right, I'm proud. You got to understand something. It's okay to be messed up sometimes. It's okay to say I'm not okay, but the key is you got to face the truth first. Who the hell are you really? Get real with yourself, strip away the BS, and get down to the core. Go deep. Dig into those dark places in your mind. It might take months, hell, it might take years. But you got to figure it out. Find that purpose. Figure out who you want to be and then go after it with everything you've got. I'm on a mission to find more of myself. And the only way I can do that is by shutting out all the noise. The world gets louder and faster every day, and it's full of distractions. You got to go dark, shut everything down, and be alone with your thoughts. We all love the noise, the parties, the people, the constant chatter, but sometimes you got to step away from that. You got to go into those dark chambers in your mind, the ones you've been avoiding, and face those demons head on. Once you face that truth, once you've dug deep and found that purpose, it's easier to accept where you're at. Not everyone can be a superstar like LeBron James, but that doesn't mean you can't be the best damn version of yourself. I've got bad knees, sickle cell, and a list of other health problems, but I made a choice. I could sit on my ass and let that be my excuse, or I could push the limits of what the human body and mind are capable of. The deeper I got into my own mind, the stronger I became. The pain never went away. It just became my new normal. And every time my knees screamed at me, I looked at them and said, shut up, I stopped feeling sorry for myself. Some mornings I woke up and told myself, screw your feelings, that doesn't mean you don't acknowledge them, it means you don't let them control you. People want to blame my bad knees on running too much, like they think they've got me all figured out. They don't know the half of it. I studied the darkness. You won't find answers in the light. It's too soft, too easy. Life isn't about sitting around in happy moments. Happiness comes naturally when you're doing the work. But to truly grow, to truly understand what you're made of, you got to plunge yourself into the darkness. Life will throw you there whether you want it or not, but when you're there, that's where the real work starts. That's where you study the darkness and come out the other side reborn. It's not just about the physical grind, man. It's about the mind. When I was a kid, watching my mom get beat, getting my ass beat, being that stuttering little black kid in school, standing on stage one damn line to say in front of 15 people. And I choked. I stuttered. I couldn't get a single word out. I'd walk off stage feeling like a complete failure. And all those insecurities, all that pain, man, it used to break me. I'd go home and cry my eyes out. But as I got older, I realized one thing: you got to study that pain. The only way you get through that darkness is by getting in there, grabbing a pen and paper and studying it. When life goes to hell around me, whether it's physical pain or just life beating you down, I don't shy away from it. I dive right in. I say, okay, this sucks. I feel like I'm losing my mind, man. You can't shove discipline and structure into a weak mind, man. You can't cram consistency in the grind into a head full of clutter. Most people try and then get overrun by all the junk in their mental garage. But I don't look at failure like everyone else does. I see it as the first, second, third, fourth, fifth attempt. They're just attempts, man. Not trying, that's failure. Not showing up, that's failure. And that ain't some motivational shit. That's the truth. When you're out there pushing beyond what you think is possible, there is no failure. If you're paralyzed and you're trying to take a step and you fall, you didn't fail. That was your first attempt. That's how you got to approach everything. You can't let that word failure own you. I stripped that power right out of it. The reason I became who I am today is because I got real with myself. I got vulnerable. I broke myself down to the core and looked myself in the eye. I said, this is who I am. I've got character flaws. I've lied, I've cheated, I've been insecure. I've done all that shit just to feel accepted. And yeah, I could lie to myself about it, but that's not going to fix anything. You have to own your story. Life made me this way, and I realize that's okay, but it's on me to fix it. A lot of the bullshit you carry isn't even your fault, but no one's coming to save you. You got to dig back to where it all started. Have the courage to face that mess and start fixing what broke you. This isn't about being addicted to suffering. Hell no, man. I don't want to live there. But I know how to go there, and that's the difference. If you were born with everything handed to you, you might never see what's possible. But when you come from nothing and claw your way to something, you know there are more doors to open. It disappoints me when people don't see what they're capable of, because I know they can get there if they just open their minds. I've learned how to hyper focus to go to those places that most people avoid. Not because I'm special, but because I let my mind open up to the possibility of what I can achieve. When you push yourself like that, every part of you grows mentally, spiritually, everything. You start feeling better about who you are. There's nothing like the feeling of getting after it, of challenging yourself every single day. That's where true growth happens. That's where you find out who you really are. You can't live with that average mindset, man. You got to be your best on your worst day. And how do you do that? By not thinking like everyone else. You can't have that normal mindset, man. Most people are out here taking the easy way out every single day, but if you do that, you're never going to see what your mind is capable of. I used to be like that. I was a chameleon, just blending in, getting by. I was living soft like everybody else. But I wasn't about to settle for that. I knew there were a few people out there, the 1% who wanted it like their life depended on it. Those are the people I'm talking to. You got to let go of that normal mindset and dig deep. You got to find that extra gear. That's where the real growth happens mentally, spiritually, physically. You start feeling better about who you are when you push past that comfort zone every single day. My biggest takeaway from life, if you keep taking the easy way out, you'll never see your true potential. I used to be that weak-ass chameleon hiding from the world. But I got real with myself. I broke myself down to rock bottom. I looked people in the eye and owned all my flaws. I said, yeah, I've lied, I've cheated. I've been insecure. That wasn't the real me. I wanted acceptance and I was ashamed of who I was. But here's the deal, if you're not willing to face that shit, you'll never know where it started. You have to go back to that dark place and fix it. Everything I didn't want to do, that's what got me here. It's about what you say to yourself and the work you put in. When I was getting crushed physically, mentally, spiritually, I told myself, you can't hurt me. Life beat me down, but I realized that's okay, man. It's not my fault, but it sure as hell is my responsibility to fix it. No one's coming to save your ass. You got to dig into where it all started, where the cracks in your foundation are, and have the courage to face that pain. I was just some scared, insecure kid. And you know what the best thing that ever happened to me was? No one came to save me. I had to go through the suffering to find my strength. I had to build calluses in my brain, the same way I built them on my hands. I saw myself as the weakest man alive, but I wasn't going to blame anyone, not even God, for what was done to me. I wanted to flip the script. I wanted to be the hardest badass man ever created. Am I that? Who knows? But I set that goal, and that goal saved my life. When I was getting bullied, skipping school, and had zero self-esteem, I knew the only person who could turn things around was me. I knew deep down that if I committed to it, I could pull off whatever the hell I wanted. But I was scared of the work. I wasn't gifted with smarts. I wasn't born with talent. And I sure wasn't athletic. I knew I had to outwork everyone just to be on the same playing field. I knew the grind would be brutal. And that scared me. But you know what? That fear haunted me until I finally faced it. And that's when everything changed. Man, I used to be just like everyone else. I wanted that comfort zone, that pat on the back. I wanted people to tell me everything I was doing right. I didn't want to hear the hard truth. I wanted the easy way out. And guess what? That mindset kept me stuck. It kept me in a world where I wasn't accomplishing a damn thing. But you know what I did? I became that big bad noise you don't want to face in the middle of the night. I became my own toughest critic. And that's when everything started to change. Man, I stopped looking for someone to blame. I stopped pointing fingers at my dad for beating me, or life for being tough, or my broken foundation for holding me back. I said, screw it. This is on me now. I got to own this. Nobody's coming to save me. No one's going to come to my couch and tell me, hey, it's okay, you're going to be all right. No, I'm not going to be okay, not unless I make a stand. It was brutal, man. Looking in the mirror and seeing the truth about who I was, a lonely, insecure, depressed man who would do anything just to have a friend. I saw that for what it was, pathetic. When you face the truth, it's ugly. But I wasn't going to hide from it anymore. I became that guy who doesn't just talk about hard work. I live it. I don't take days off. First thing in the morning, I'm up and getting after it. Why? Because every damn day, you're either gaining confidence or losing it. You're never staying the same. How do you build that confidence? You look in that mirror and you like what you see. If you wake up feeling fat, out of shape, or just off, then you know what you got to do. You got to put in the work. So get up, sweat it out, get the blood pumping, get the mind right. Every day I'm running. Every day I'm grinding. People like to set these finish lines for themselves, but M&A, I don't stop when I'm tired. I stop when I'm done. When I was younger, I had no direction, no goals. I didn't give a damn about being the fastest or the strongest. I wasn't making it to the Olympics or going pro. Hell, I could barely read and write in high school. I was going nowhere fast. But I saw working out as a way to build calluses on my mind. I needed to kill that victim mentality. I watched movies like Rocky, and I saw what real training looked like: brutal, ugly, uncomfortable. I thought, man, that's what I got to do, not to get stronger or bigger, but to build myself mentally. Getting up early, that's not for everyone. It sucks. But that's why I knew I had to do it. So I made a long list of all the shit I didn't want to do, and then I did all of it. That's where I found myself. I looked around and realized these other kids aren't doing this. They aren't getting up at 5 a.m. to run on a damn golf course. And that's when I saw I had something they didn't. That's when I built that work ethic that never quits. Through that work ethic, I found who I was. I stopped looking for comfort and started looking for the struggle. That struggle built me into who I am today. And that's what separates me from everybody else. You got to hit that suffering every single day. You don't get to hide from it, because all that pain, all those scars, they don't go away on their own. You got to face that pain head on. See, I look at suffering the same way I look at failure. To succeed, you got to fail, man. You got to suffer. That's where the real lessons are, right there in the middle of all that pain and failure. All the answers to life's tests, they're buried in that suffering. But here's the thing, you don't have to live there 24/7. You don't got to be in that pain every second of your life. You just got to learn how to visit it. Think about it like working out. Most people hate working out, but you only got to do it for an hour a day. The other 23 hours, you're not in the gym, but the way you get stronger, the way you get in shape, is by visiting that pain, that suffering, for that 1 hour a day. You got to make a date with suffering. Visit it. Spend some time with it. Do the same thing with your past failures, your past mistakes. Spend time in there. Crack your mind open. Dig into it while you're still breathing. Don't wait until you're dead to figure out why you died. Get that work done while you're alive. Get deep into that suffering. Dive into the pain of your life and ask yourself, why does this hurt so damn much? Why am I scared of all this shit? Why did I shut down? And I promise you, the answer to why you shut down is in those dark corners of suffering inside your mind. That's where all the answers live, in those scars. That's why you're sitting on the couch feeling sorry for yourself. You haven't gone deep enough. And here's the deal. It's not just about physical suffering. It's mental. It's everything you're reading, you're learning, your workouts, your diet. You start neglecting even one of those. It's a slippery slope. Pretty soon you're neglecting everything. You don't even see it happening until it's too late. And then boom, it's haunting you. Suddenly you're like, damn, I haven't been eating right, sleeping right. I'm way off track. You got to be dialed into that stuff. You see yourself slipping, you slam the brakes hard. No drifting allowed. The one thing that drives me crazy is seeing people die with their potential still locked inside them. Why? Because they believe somebody else is better than them, or that they didn't come with the best tools. You got to grind yourself down to dust, man. Grind yourself into a fine powder, and then find a way to build yourself back up again and again. And that's possible even if you come from some nowhere town, someplace nobody wants to leave. If you want to become somebody, you got to get out. You got to force your mind open. A small mind can lock you in a box, can keep your mind closed off. Not everybody, but a lot of people get stuck. You got to break out of that. You need to see the world. Open your mind up wide, give yourself space. Because if you don't, you're going to stay locked in that small mindset forever. And that's the real death. Most of the ignorance, most of the racism out there comes from people being stuck in their own little worlds. They don't get out. They don't see different people, different places, different things. And that's why they judge so damn harshly, because their minds are locked up, closed off to the reality of life. You don't know what it's like to be in the worst environment, the worst situation, where you look around and you see that look on everyone's face like, damn, I hope this is over soon. You can see time slowing down for them. They want out. That's when I realized I had to start playing mind games. I'm thinking, these shits are watching us right now, thinking back to the Hell Week, wondering if they were tougher than us. I said to myself, all right, you want to judge me? Cool. Let's see how you like this. They want to tell you how you're supposed to feel. They want to break you. Hell no. This is day one, hour one. So I got my boat crew fired up, and I said, we're going to take their souls today. When we started doing this simple exercise and other guys were struggling, I looked at those instructors' faces and they were like, they just seen a ghost. I turned to my crew and said, we own space in their heads now. They're going to be thinking about us tonight. Man, you see, it takes just one moment, one spark to take someone's energy and use it for yourself. You know how it feels in a fight when you look in your opponent's eyes and see that he's broken, that he doesn't want any more. That's when you know you can keep going all day, every day. That's what taking souls is all about. But you got to have the heart, the guts, and the will to push that extra mile when you've got nothing left to give. And that's where I want you. I want you right there with me, deep in that place where most people quit. I'm taking you there with me. Man, I'm a storyteller and I want to take you down to where I came from, Paradise Road, Buffalo, New York. That place wasn't paradise, it was hell. That's where I got my ass beat every damn day. But I want you to see it. I want you to feel it. You want to learn from me? Then let me take you home. Let me show you where it all started. Man, the truth is most people are afraid to dive into their own lives, afraid to face what made them who they are. We're all messed up in our own ways, but that's what makes us beautiful. I'm messed up, you're messed up. But I found my way to you unmess myself. That's the game. That's the journey. Find out how to get your own ass unjacked up. Don't be scared to go there. Embrace it. That's where the real growth happens. Look, man, I'm not going to get there the same way you do. You might have a straight path, point A to point B. Me, I might have to hit point C, D, E, and F, but I'm going to end up in the same spot. Just took a harder road to get there. That's how I train my brain. I'm wired different. Everyone wants to fast forward to peace. They want to skip all the pain, the suffering, the grind of real life. They want to cover it all up with a big cozy blanket and find peace. Nah, man, sorry, that's not how it works. You got to go into the hellhole inside you, the one that's been screwing you up. You got to face it, own it, and fix it. That's what I'm here to tell you. You've got to go to war with yourself if you ever want to find peace. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. It's a brutal journey. A journey that's going to take you so far outside your comfort zone, you won't even recognize where you are. And let me tell you, it's going to get ugly. I remember I started running, feeling good at mile 40, mile 40, mile 50. But when I hit mile 70, it was the worst pain in my life. I sat down in this blue lawn chair at mile 70. Those Ritz crackers I'd been eating since mile 20 were like cement in my mouth. I hadn't been hydrating right, didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was down in my Plex shakes because I couldn't swallow those dry ass crackers, barely drinking any water. And my body was breaking down. I'm in that blue chair, dizzy as hell, watching these runners pass me by, feeling like my whole world was spinning. I hadn't taken a piss in 12 hours, which was a sign my body was shutting down. I had knocked out 70 miles in 12 hours, which is decent. But I looked at my ex-wife and I saw 3 of her standing there. The moment my body stopped moving, my mind went haywire. I had to get to the bathroom, which was just 20 feet away, but I couldn't move. When you decide to quit, your mind locks up. It says, we're done. There's no expansion, no growth when you quit. But when you say, hell no, this is miserable, I'm hurting, I'm broken, but I ain't leaving, something crazy happens. Your mind starts to expand. It realizes this shit ain't leaving. You've got way more in you than you think, but you've got to dig deep and find it. I picked up my shovel and made my own path. Others might get there faster, smoother, but I'm going my way through the rough, through the grind. And yeah, there are days I wake up with my head down, pissed off, wondering why I live this way. But then I remind myself, you want to be average? You want to be like everyone else who never digs deep enough to find what they're truly capable of? Screw that. Man, people think my knees are busted from all this running, but they're wrong. I wasn't born with some perfect body. I wasn't born healthy. I got sickle cell, all kinds of stuff. So I had a choice, sit down and do nothing because it hurts, or push the limits of what's possible. And as I got deeper into my mind, as I pushed past what I thought I could do, I realized I was capable of way more. Yeah, my knees hurt. That pain, it became my new normal. I don't sit around feeling sorry for myself. I get up and keep moving. Sometimes you got to tell your feelings to shut the hell up. For me, I made a decision. I'm going to be the best version of myself, no matter what. And that means a lot of mornings I wake up and I say, screw your feelings. Not literally like don't ever feel anything, but sometimes you got to push past that shit. My knees were busted up, but I wanted to run. People say, oh, you ran too much, now you're all broken. I hear it all the time, you don't want to be like David Goggins. But I'm not listening to that noise. I made a choice, and I'm sticking to it. I'm not here to live in comfort. I study the darkness, man. You don't find answers in the light. The light is too easy. It's all smiles and rainbows. It's not where you learn anything. We're naturally drawn to happy moments, but that ain't where the growth happens. The real shit happens in the dark times. You can't just wait for life to throw you into the fire sometimes. You got to step into it yourself. People ask me, how do you write like this? I go to places in my mind. Most people are too scared to go. I grew up watching my mom get beat. I got beat. I was a stuttering black kid in an all-white school. I remember being on stage having to say one line, just one goddamn line, and walking off because I couldn't get it out. I'd go home and cry, feeling like the world was against me. That's where my mind was formed in the dark. As I got older, I learned that the only way through this is to study it. Every dark moment, whether it's physical pain or life knocking me down, I grab a pen and paper and I dive in. I'm like, okay, this sucks. I feel like I'm losing my mind, but let's figure it out. You can't fit discipline, structure, or consistency into your life if your mind is a cluttered, messed up garage. You got to clean that shit out. I got to a point where I realized this is life. I don't dwell on things. People ask, what are you going to do if you can't run? David, I'll swim. I'll go to college. I'll find another way. Running isn't my life. I know how fast life can rip things away from you. So I've always trained my mind for the next chapter. I started front loading my life. When I was young, I was a piece of shit, full of doubt. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. But once I got my head out to my ass, I realized you can achieve a lot if you just move, if you get up and start grinding, if you become your own motivator. So I started front loading my mental game. Every time I'm in a bad situation, I study it. That's why I do half the shit I do. I'm not out here writing books or motivating people because I always knew I'd be good at it. I'm doing it because I knew I sucked. And when you know you suck, when you believe you're a born loser, you start taking snapshots in your mind. You see something on your phone, you take a picture, right? I do that with my pain. I capture it, I analyze it, and I use it to fuel my grind. Man, I don't just go through the motions like most people. When I'm out there grinding, pushing my body to the limit, I'm not out there to enjoy the damn scenery. I'm not looking at the mountains or whatever. I'm in pain, man. My body's screaming. But that's when the real work begins. That's when I step into my mental lab. This is where I get my edge. Every day I push myself, whether it's running, working, or studying, I come back and I'm not just leaving it out there. I write it all down. I'm dissecting every thought that hits me during the grind. As I'm running, I'm breaking it all down. I'm asking myself, why did that happen? What led up to it? I'm in school, but it's not some classroom BS. It's me alone, getting smarter, getting harder. Man, I've done a lot in my life, busted my ass in the military, broke records, tackled some of the hardest races out there. But it's not just about the grind. It's about setting myself up for the long haul. What if you do live to be old? If you front load your life, bust your ass when you're young, the back half is gold. But you're alone in this game. Sure, you can talk to people, but at the end of the day, you're alone in your own head, and that's where the battle is fought. If you don't control your mind, it controls you. You've got to tell your brain what the hell you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and when you're going to do it. If you let it run wild, you're finished. You've got to quiet your mind, get away from the noise. Everyone loves to be around people, loves the party, the chatter, but you've got to be okay being alone. It's okay to be unhappy, to struggle. That's where the growth happens. I go dark. I cut off the distractions, put my phone away, and get real with myself. Life's a journey, man, and we're all on a different path. When I hit the grave, I want to look back and be proud of the man I became. I want to be forever proud of who I was, the man who overcame the bullshit, who transformed from a liar and insecure kid into someone worth remembering. It's okay to be happy sometimes, but you've got to start with the truth. Who are you, really? Get brutally honest with yourself and own that truth. That's where it all begins. You want to find out who the hell you really are. You've got to go to that dark place in your mind. It's not going to happen overnight. It might take months, hell, it might take years, but you've got to dig deep and figure out your purpose. You can't find that in the noise of the world, man. The world's getting louder, faster, more chaotic every damn day. And the more caught up you get in that chaos, the more you lose sight of who the hell you really are. So you've got to go dark. You've got to silence the world and get alone with your thoughts. Yeah, we all love being around people, love the noise, the distractions, the parties, but real growth, real discovery that happens when you're alone, when you're uncomfortable, when you're unhappy. And that's okay. It's okay to be unhappy. It's okay to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm screwed up right now, but you've got to own that truth. Who are you really? What's the raw, unfiltered truth about you? To find that out, you've got to go into those dark chambers of your mind that you've been avoiding. You've got to open those doors, confront those demons, and look them dead in the eye. Get in there, face that shit, and ask yourself, what's up? What am I really about? That's where you find your purpose. That's where you figure out what you want to be in this life. And once you've got that purpose locked in, everything else starts to make sense. You can accept your limitations, own up to your weaknesses, and still push forward. You weren't made to be perfect, but you were made to fight, to struggle, and to find out just how far you can go. Yeah, not everyone's going to be Mr. Olympia, but I'll tell you this, man, you've got way more inside you than you think. You may not be the fastest, the strongest, or the most talented, but that doesn't matter. What matters is pure badass guts, willpower, and the drive to keep going when everything in you wants to quit. That's what separates the average from the uncommon. All I did was pick up that damn shovel and start digging. I made my own path, man. And yeah, there might be boulders in the way, and maybe those other guys are miles ahead of you, but so what? The path you carve for yourself, the one that's hard as hell, that's the one that leads to something real. When you come out the other side of that grind, there's some glorious shit waiting for you, stuff you can't even put into words. People always ask, how do you build mental toughness? How do you become the person you want to be? The answer is simple, man. You face the shit you don't want to face. Every damn day. If you keep running from the hard stuff, how the hell are you going to grow? Life is one big ass game, and you've got to learn how to play it. You have to take control of your thoughts. If your mind is full of negativity, you've got to flip that shit. Turn that negative into a positive and push through everything life throws at you. If you don't, you'll die never even scratching the surface of your full potential.